Question 15. For negative 2 less than x less than 2, let f be the function with the first derivative given by that equation. Which of the following are all the intervals on which the graph of f is concave up? Again, put this into your graphing calculator. Let's get a nice viewing window for it so that we can see it nice and clearly. And the viewing window that I chose was... Oops. The viewing window that I chose was this one. So from, sorry, it's a little tilted, but from negative 2 to 2, and then from negative 0.5 to 1. I just wanted to get a nice viewing window, and I was able to do that once I put it in that viewing window. So you guys can try it as well. And this is what I got my graph to look like. So my graph looks like this. Yours probably looks something like that as well once you get a nice viewing window. It says, which of the following are all intervals on which the graph of f is concave up? Now remember that the first derivative, okay, when the original function is concave up, we're looking for where the first derivative is increasing. So if I pull this back up really quick, I'm looking for where this function is increasing, okay? In order to figure out where it's increasing, it's helpful to know what these values are, okay? So maybe you can use the trace feature of your graphing calculator. You can use the trace feature of your graphing calculator. In my opinion, I would probably just use the trace feature. So if this was a free response question, I would want to know, so let me backtrack a little bit. If I want to know where it's concave up, I want to know where it's increasing. So it's this interval here and this interval here. Okay, these are the two intervals where it's increasing. Now, if I wanted to know specifically like what these values were, so for example, if this was a free response question and I needed to know exactly what values these were, I would not want to estimate. So I'm not about to come in here and being like, this is negative 1.25 or whatever. I would want to know exactly what this minimum is. So you would have to use second calc and calculate that minimum here, calculate this maximum, calculate this minimum over here. However, because this is a multiple choice and you can look at the multiple choice answers, it's going to be pretty obvious unless multiple of them are super, super close and they're really just testing your knowledge of whether or not you know how to find a maximum or minimum, which I doubt. But as long as you can get close to what this is, then you can probably estimate which answer choice it is. So using the trace feature, you can probably get pretty close to that left minimum. Sorry. You can probably get pretty close to that left minimum. It looks like it's over here around, this looks like negative 1.19, so a little bit more than negative 1. And then same thing over here, actually. I'll show you guys. Over here, this value is pretty close to positive, like 1.19 or something like that. And then this one in the middle is 0. So remember that if I'm looking at this interval here where it's increasing and this interval here where it's increasing, this looks like it's from negative 1.19 to 0 and from positive 1.19 to 2. So if I can find an answer choice that looks very, very similar to that, then I'm good to go. So the answer choice that looks closest to that is probably negative 1.19 to 0 and 1.19 to 2 is probably C. And again, if you're one of those people that it's like, oh, I didn't get exactly what it was, you can go back you can go back and actually find that. Right? You can actually find this minimum in your calculator and calculate it that way if it makes you feel more comfortable. But if you're okay with the estimation technique, then that one would be as fine as well. So yeah, that's the closest one that resembles what the answer choice should be, which is why C is the answer.